In the dusty glow of a neon sign flickering Lucky Star Saloon, against the twilight sky of Willow Creek, Texas, Jack Harlan slid onto a worn barstool, his calloused hands clutching a crumpled $20 bill, the last remnant of his shattered dreams. He'd driven 300 miles through the scorching desert, chasing whispers of a high-stakes poker game that promised quick riches to mend his broken life. Little did he know, as the cards were dealt under the watchful eyes of grizzled cowboys and the stern gaze of Sheriff Harlan, no relation, thank God, that this night wasn't about fortune in greenbacks, but in the unexpected currency of the heart. Jack wasn't a gambler by trade, he was a mechanic from Austin, down on his luck after his garage burned to the ground in a freak electrical fire. Insurance? A joke in these parts. With his elderly mother facing eviction from their modest home and medical bills piling up like tumbleweeds in a storm, Jack had swallowed his pride and hit the road. Just one big win, he'd muttered to himself, staring at the endless highway. The saloon was packed that Friday night, the air thick with cigar smoke and the clink of whiskey glasses. At the center table sat the usual suspects, Old Man Tucker, the cattle baron with a poker face carved from granite, Billy the Kid, real name William, but he fancied the legend, and a few drifters like Jack, all eyeing the pot that could change everything. As the game kicked off, Jack's eyes wandered to the bar, where a young woman with sun-kissed hair and eyes like polished turquoise served drinks with a grace that cut through the chaos. She was Ellie, the sheriff's daughter, known around town for her sharp wit and even sharper refusal of suitors. Ellie had grown up in Willow Creek, helping her father keep the peace after her mother's passing years ago. She dreamed of more, of college, maybe even writing stories about the wide world beyond these arid plains, but duty and love kept her rooted. Tonight, she watched the game with mild disinterest, until Jack's quiet demeanor caught her eye. He wasn't like the others, boasting or bluffing wildly, he played steady, almost thoughtfully, as if the cards were puzzles to solve rather than weapons to wield. The first hand went south for Jack. He folded early, losing his ante, but not before noticing a frail old-timer at the end of the table, Mr. Jenkins, fumbling with his chips. The man was a local farmer, widowed and whispering about his granddaughter's hospital bills. When Tucker raised aggressively, Jenkins hesitated, his hands trembling. In a move that stunned the room, Jack leaned over and murmured, "Fold if it's too rich, friend. Live to play another." It wasn't strategy. It was simple kindness, a nod to the humanity beneath the game. Jenkins folded, saving his stake, and shot Jack a grateful look. Ellie, overhearing from behind the bar, paused mid-pour, her heart stirring at this stranger's selflessness amid the cutthroat bets. As the night wore on, the pot swelled to over $5,000, a king's ransom in Willow Creek. Jack held his own, his stack growing modestly through calculated risks. But then came the unexpected turn, a heated argument erupted when Billy accused Tucker of cheating, cards flying and fists clenching. The sheriff, lounging in the corner with his badge gleaming, stepped in to cool things down, but it was Jack who defused the bomb. Standing up, he said calmly, "Gentlemen, we're all here for a fair game. Let's reshuffle and start fresh, no harm done." His voice carried the weight of someone who'd seen real loss, not just chips on a table. The room settled, and play resumed, but Ellie couldn't shake the image. Who was this man, prioritizing peace over profit? Midway through, another twist unfolded. Jenkins, emboldened by Jack's earlier advice, went all in on a strong hand, but Tucker called with a monster flush. Jenkins lost everything, his face crumpling like dry earth. The old man stood to leave, defeated, muttering about selling his last cow to pay for his granddaughter's treatments. Without a word, Jack pushed half his winnings, nearly $1,000, across the table. "Take it," he said softly. "Family comes first." "I've been there." Gasps rippled through the saloon. Tucker sneered, "Fool's move, stranger. You'll regret that." But Jack just shrugged. Regrets for those who forget we're all in this together. Ellie, wiping down the bar, felt a profound realization wash over her. In a world of takers, here was a giver, raw and real. The game intensified, the air electric with tension. Jack's stack dwindled from his generous act, but his focus sharpened. Ellie found herself drifting closer, refilling his water glass unasked, their eyes meeting in fleeting moments that sparked like embers. She learned snippets of his story through overheard chatter, the fire, his mother's illness, and saw the quiet strength in his weary smile. "Why help him?" she whispered during a break, sliding him a fresh deck of napkins. Jack looked up, surprised. "Because winning money means nothing if you lose your soul along the way. Kindness costs little but pays big." Her heart fluttered. In Willow Creek, men talked big but acted small. Jack was different. As the final hands approached, the climax built like a gathering storm. Only Jack, Tucker, and Billy remained, the pot now a staggering 10 grand. Billy folded out, leaving Jack heads up against the Baron. Tucker, sensing weakness from Jack's earlier giveaway, went aggressive, bluffing with a weak pair. Jack, holding a straight, could have cleaned him out. But in that pivotal moment, he paused. Tucker's bravado hid desperation, rumors swirled of his ranch teetering on bankruptcy, his workers unpaid. Jack's mind raced to his own hardships, to the power of humanity he'd preached. Instead of calling the all-in, he folded deliberately, letting Tucker take the pot. The saloon erupted in confusion. "What the hell, boy?" the sheriff bellowed, striding over. Jack met his gaze steadily. "Sometimes, winning isn't about the cards. Mr. Tucker's got folks depending on him. I came for money, but I'll leave knowing I didn't crush a man to get it." The room fell silent, then applause broke out, slow at first, then thunderous. Tucker, stunned, extended a hand. "You're a better man than I, stranger." But the true transformation hit Ellie like a wildfire. Tears welled as she realized this act of compassion wasn't just generous, it was revolutionary in a town hardened by survival. She approached Jack as he gathered his meager remaining chips, her voice trembling. "That was the bravest thing I've seen. Not many would choose heart over hull." Jack smiled faintly. "Brave? Nah, just human. We all need a little grace now and then." In the aftermath, as the crowd dispersed, Ellie invited Jack for a walk under the stars. They talked till dawn, about dreams deferred, losses endured, and the quiet power of selflessness that binds us all. The sheriff, watching from afar, nodded approval. He'd seen enough wolves in sheep's clothing to recognize a genuine soul. Jack didn't win the money that night, but he left Willow Creek with something infinitely richer, Ellie's heart, won not through charm or chance, but through acts of kindness that echoed the best of humanity. As Jack drove away the next morning, a small envelope from Ellie tucked in his pocket, her number and a promise to visit Austin, he felt a hope he hadn't known in years. In a world that often rewards the ruthless, his story whispered a timeless truth: true victory lies in lifting others, for in giving, we receive the greatest gifts. And somewhere in Willow Creek, Ellie gazed at the horizon, inspired to chase her own dreams, knowing that one selfless act can spark a chain of change, lighting up lives across the vast American tapestry and beyond.